Well, I have the great pleasure of being able to introduce your first speaker to you this morning. Our very own owner and CEO of Juice Plus since 2005. Peter's previous work experiences included over 21 years in fresh fruits and veg in Sydney. Go figure, see? And then moved into ours. 2 years in hospitality at the Sydney Hilton as well. He began to take Juice Plus back in March 98 and started working with Juice Plus in July 98, so right from the outset nearly. He was then the Australian warehouse manager, so his story is a beautiful one. He travelled to Memphis head office in 2000 to be trained in a number of areas, including the webmaster role for Australia, and later became the product knowledge expert for Juice Plus Australia, as well as the organiser for its first 8 conferences. In May 2005, Peter and his lovely wife Louise purchased the Juice Plus Company Australian franchise in a monumental 17-year contract, with Peter taking over as a hands-on CEO. There's lots more to say about Peter, but I'm going to let him say it himself. Can you please get to your feet, give a rousing welcome to our CEO, Mr. Peter Glennie.
Please remain standing. Not for me, but OMG. Oh. Wow. Okay, you all have a name tag with a first name on it. Please turn around and say hi to someone you haven't met and call them by their first name. Have you met someone you haven't met before? Wow. Okay, before I proceed, would all the first-timers please remain standing if it's your first conference, and everyone else to sit down? Wow. Look at this. I remember my first conference was in Star City in Sydney in 1998, and you were there, and there were, I think, 200 of us, and I knew probably 3 people. So I think I know 3 people now. So welcome all the newbies. Please sit down. I do have notes and I need glasses, so that's what's changed over the years. I'm welcoming everyone here for this conference. It's our biggest ever, so thank you. I'm also welcoming our overseas guests and franchisees from all places in the globe. Wow, we are a multinational company, and Australia is the place to be at the moment. Let me tell you that. You'll find out more. Oh, thank you. My notes fell down. That's right. And this stage, my goodness. I rarely get lost anywhere, but I will get lost here. Okay. Whoops, too far. There we go. That's it. First glitch, only one. I'm going to title this talk, Jay's Words of Wisdom. Now, for those of you who do not know, Jay Martin is the owner and founder of the company worldwide. He's been in this position for close on 48 years. And Jay is a storyteller. And if you ever want to read his stories, they're in this book. Now, this book you cannot buy. This book you need to go and sponsor a child for Nutrition Plus. You not only get this book, you get the most coolest wristband as well. And if you do it today, you'll get the books. They do have them out there. But Jay's stories, that doesn't like to be on there, does it? Jay's stories are legendary. And as John Blair will tell you, the retelling of a story never gets in the way of him telling that story over and over again. I think John said it last night. He's only got about 3 or 4, but he tells them so many times you think he's got a lot more. let me tell you about Jay. I met Jay in 2000 when I was the warehouse manager for Juice Plus Australia. And for some reason, for a person who can't type, they sent me to America to help build the first Juice Plus website. I still can't fathom that out, but now we get people who can type to do that. Anyone got the app at the moment? Anyone got the app? Yep. That man up there waving, that's Ben. Ben's up there, we'll do the post to you, so please throw everything on there. It's going to be great. We're going to get this out. I went over there to build the Juice Plus website. When I was in the office, I was walking around and someone said, "There's Jay Martin." Well, what do you say to the man who owns all of this? And I remember going to him and going, "Mr. Martin, how you going?" It was like, he looked at me, he turned to Sean Hopkins and he said, "Tell him to lose the tie." Because I was wearing a tie in the office and nobody ever wears a tie in the office. It wasn't until many years later that he came out to Australia for an event and I got a photo with him. And it really made me think, and I'll show you the photo. We're the same height. Here I was looking at this man of stature. It didn't diminish his stature at all, but I thought, my goodness, I'm as tall as Jay Martin. So that was we often have a bit of a joke that if I'm travelling and people say who you are, I say I'm the Jay Martin of Australia, only taller and better looking. Jay heard that once and told me not to say it again. Shh. So, one of the things that this talk is about is Jay's words of wisdom. Now, if anyone was in Anaheim, we had over 200 people in Anaheim conference. We creamed that conference with the attendees, with 16 new national marketing directors on stage, and between you and me, there are only 6 Americans and 5 Canadians on stage doing that, so we did very well. Yes. Very much the responsibility of the people in the front rows here, because they're our leaders, and they're the ones who work with you tirelessly to get you to achieve your goals you want. Jay got up on there was one. Anyway, Jay was presenting on Friday morning, and he turned round, and it gets darker as I walk up here. I better stay back. Thank you. I was going to say, Jay was talking on Friday morning, and he mentioned some words of wisdom that he's brought out there. Now, in 2005, Louise, my lovely wife, and myself, excuse my back, but I have trouble walking backwards, we went to America and we signed the longest contract in their history to take on Juice Plus Australia. Now, part of that was spending time in the office, meeting with John, with all the top people, trying to understand what we've signed in for. We ended up at the Marriott Hotel. We had a lunch with all the executive group. There was about 21, 22 of us, and everyone was talking away, and we got up to finish, and I just turned around to Jay and just said, "Jay," I said, "what haven't they told me?" And he told me these things. The amazing thing about these things is I went, "Wow, that's good." I turned to Louise. She'd memorized them, put them into a diary, and then we wrote them, and they actually sit on the wall in my office. And these were Jay's words of wisdom. Make all decisions with a long-term view. Okay, what does that mean? Well, we're not in this business for overnight success. We're in this business for the long haul. We want this to be a lifestyle changer, not only for the people that started in the early days, like Mark and Steve and Bronwyn and the other people. We also want it for the newest NMDs to be able to say, this becomes my lifestyle, my business. So we are here for the long term. One of the points that I had here, I need to put my glasses on now. There we go. This lady, the Newcastle study, Dr. Lisa Wood. You'll hear more about the study from Lisa Pepple and also Manfred Lamprecht, who we have on video here for you. But Dr. Lisa Wood, there was a story there where a lady came into our office looking for a charitable donation for the local school. For some reason, I started talking to her, and that's hard for me to do. I started talking to her, and during the discussion, she said, I've got a friend who's a researcher. I think she'd like to hear about your product. Now, we had been trying for 3 years to find a university to take on our product and do a study, and none of them, we just don't know the reason why, but they didn't take it on. Lisa came in, met us. We were there for 10 minutes with Louise and myself. They're both scientists, so I'm just watching on as they're talking. In that 10 minutes, Louise, my wife, grabbed me and said, we can't have any more contact with her. We need to send her to Memphis. We need for her to speak to Memphis. So that's how it started. And I've got to thank my wife for putting her friendship that she found within 10 minutes on hold for having Dr. Lisa Wood do the study. Our long-term view is that we're hopeful with the Omegas that she may be able to do something with that too. And I keep putting it out there to the universe. So that's what we mean by a long-term view. This is another thing he said to me. Build a consensus before you vote. Anyone here get a great idea? No? No one? Oh, okay. I get great ideas every day. Every day I have a great idea. And it annoys Louise because they're usually bad ideas. But if it's a good idea, she will tell me, and then we start building a consensus. We get out, we talk to people. We also get a lot of ideas into us. So in order to have anything of stability, you really need to have everyone on board. And that's the majority vote. That's the way we work. So let's look at the Omegas. We've had Juice Plus for 18 odd years here in Australia. We have Complete, we have the soft chews. We really needed something that was going to add value to our product. And when the Omegas came on, we thought, ooh, let's build a consensus. We've checked with our top people, we've checked with our regulatory people, and one of the things that amazed us is the Therapeutic Goods Association could not put it into a category. They'd never seen anything like that before. But I'm pleased to announce that we talked to the TGA and we got some interesting things happening. So that's going to be the new look of the bottle, and that's the new label for Australia. And we have a listing, a therapeutic goods listing for an Omega product. There'll be more about the Omegas as we go during the conference. One of the great things is we're going to have a listing of claims that we can use, and we will get those out to you as soon as they're approved by the TGA. Let's look at another long-term view. Build a consensus. 100 Club Leadership Mastermind. Twice a year, our 100 clubbers, you want to put your hands up, 100 clubbers? There we are. Actually, please stand up. Please stand up. Come on. Okay. Our 100 clubbers make their way to the office in Newcastle, and we sit down. Now, it can get heated in that discussion. There's a lot of love in that room, but there's also a lot of passion. And we make decisions with the long-term view, and we build the consensus before we go ahead. Because we get ideas from overseas, we get ideas from Australia, we hear them from the UK. They may be great ideas, but will they suit us? So that's where we're so proud to have an association with our top leaders who are your voice for us so we can implement these changes or tweak something just to make it even better. This is another thing he told me. How that photo was taken, I don't know. I don't know what we were talking about, but anyone who knows Jay and knows me, I like a bit of humour, and of course, Jay is one of the biggest storytellers and humorous storytellers ever. So let me take you back to about 1971, I left school early. I went to work in Haymarket, and my first job was unloading 24 tonne of watermelon by hand. Now, in those days, the watermelons were that big and long. They weren't the round ones you see today or the small ones. So that's where I learnt my trade of handling fresh fruit and veggies, literally. So it was very funny many years later to sit in the audience and hear Jay tell a story about watermelons. Now, I've never heard a watermelon story. I haven't. I've never heard a watermelon story. So Jay tells the one, and I'll abbreviate a little bit, but when he was at school, they used to walk 2-3 miles to school, and his 4 friends. Now, he has their names down pat, and I don't know their names, but it'd be like that if it was, he had red hair, he'd be red. In Australia, he'd be Bluey or Ranger, but all the nicknames were coming out from Jay about his friends, and they are crazy people. These boys walk to school, they come back in the afternoon, and they do this every day. Well, on one particular day, it was extremely hot. So they're walking back from school, and one fella sees the watermelon patch through the wire fence. And so they look good. Now, if you don't know anything about watermelons, let me tell you something. If you get a watermelon and you take it out of the patch and you rest it on a stump or off the ground, it will actually cool and refrigerate itself, so it becomes colder. So they break a hole in the fence, go through, grab a huge long watermelon, get it out, take it up the road, cool it down, break it open, and they eat watermelon. Now, if you haven't broken a watermelon open and just grab that handful of eating it, there's nothing better. It is, wow, it's an amazing experience. Not this knife, these little slitty bits, just straight, bang, all down the front. No. Anyway, they did that. They did that the next day and the next day. Well, about the 4th day, the fence has been wired. Ooh. So they go a bit further down, find another hole, and go in through that and get another watermelon out. So they're doing real well for the first week. The second week comes up, they've gone to school, they've come back, it's really hot. The fence has been wired up, and there's a sign by the farmer. Warning. He's got watermelons, warning. One is poisoned. Now, we often talk about Jay being the forward thinker and the crazy. I'm quite sure he collaborated with his friends. What they did next is they then made a hole in the fence. They went into the patch. They came back out. They got a bit of a pen and they changed the sign. And the farmer came out that afternoon, saw his fence was open, got really upset, turned around and looked at the sign, and what did it say? They'd crossed out the 1 and put 2 in there. Now, to me, that's an opportunity of forward thinking to turn adversity into an advantage, because then they knew, well, the farmer wouldn't touch it, so maybe they go back and get some more. But Jay tells these stories with such passion, and it's just amazing to be really associated with Jay, with the company, and I suppose with everything we do here. So, Jay's words of wisdom. If ever you have the chance, he's a very approachable guy. He will come along to you. He will talk to you. I was recounting a story last night. We went to John Blair's house. We were invited there for the new CFO of the company. And I must admit, I didn't have a lot of time sort of talking one-on-one with Jay in the first 4 to 5 years. And I'm sitting down on this lounge, minding my own business. Next minute, Jay comes and sits beside me and starts talking. Wow, he's noticed me. The whole talk was brilliant. It was telling me about the business. It was telling me about our growth, our strategic, everything. I went, wow, this is phenomenal. Anyway, Jay got up and left. I went over to Louise. I said, Louise, I've just had the most amazing talk for Jay for a good hour. It is, it's cemented all our ideals. Everything's working well. Next morning, we go to the conference, 9 o'clock. Jay opens the conference. Word for word, what he spoke to me was his speech. That special feeling sort of went. And when I talked to John Blair says he rehearses on everyone. So, yeah. But it's an amazing way to feel special, and within a company that is this big, it's a great thing we do and we become involved with.